Hello, welcome to another episode of REKT Vision. We are back again. It's just myself and OSF. OSF is sporting some questionable facial hair this week. We'll see if that's going to last till the next week. How's everything going over there, OSF?
Yeah, good. Busy week, busy day. I'm glad it's Friday. I haven't even checked prices today. That's how busy I've been. That really says something, I think. So I'm one of those people who checks prices like every second. Where is Bitcoin?
Yeah,
Where is Bitcoin right now?
Bitcoin's doing well. Bitcoin's above 68K, I think, as we go live. It's been a
Oh
very good.
wow.
It's been a good week for crypto, no doubt about it. We'll kind of get into it a little bit more, but it does feel as though Bitcoin itself is definitely leading the way. And there was some thought that we'd sell off maybe because we had such a big rally earlier in the week, but we've held on to pretty substantial gains. It's about 10%, I think 11% higher on Bitcoin on the week. ETH is about 8%. And I think Solana is up about 6%. So a big move across the board.
Yeah, it's impressive, isn't it? This is the highest level we've seen.
Oh no. It looks like we may have lost OSF for a little bit there. I'll continue going by myself here, but it does feel as though we've had a very strong week for crypto. Bitcoin dominance is actually approaching kind of its cycle high. We're up at about 59% now for Bitcoin dominance. OSF, I think you're back, but we lost you there for a little bit. I don't know if your internet's a little bit questionable, but yeah. We have Bitcoin dominance hitting around 59%. So going towards its cycle high. I think personally, Bitcoin dominance figure is heading above 60%. I don't know what you think. I know we've kind of danced around the three different majors at different stages. Like, which one are you feeling most confident with at the moment?
Yeah, it's still got to be Bitcoin for me, really. I think that's what clearly has led this cycle so far. It's what continues to lead. It's the token that will benefit the most from any aggressive Trump policy with regard to Bitcoin as a national reserve currency and buying more Bitcoin. So I think Bitcoin continues to lead. And yeah, I'm of the view that dominance rises above 60%. The only
This is going to be a hilarious show. That's a great still of OSF, it seems. Um, Look, I think the main things that we've seen, or at least over the last week, with respect to Bitcoin dominance, has been Trump's odds actually increasing. So Trump's odds has actually gone up to about 63%. It looks like, which has been pretty substantial rise from just a couple of weeks ago, where it was more even. Now it's difficult to say because it's some of these prediction markets can be moved by whales, but that has led to some pretty substantial inflows into the ETF. I think we've had the biggest week for Bitcoin ETF inflows since July. BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF has seen over $1 billion of inflows already this week, and it's only Thursday. So massive week for the ETFs. I think we've had net inflows of over 20 billion now for the ETFs. I think maybe even higher than that. So massive period here for the ETFs, and it feels like it's all gearing up towards the election. I think we're probably going to be in or around all-time highs for Bitcoin at least before the election, by the looks of things. OSF, do we have you back?
Yeah, what I was going to say is the only counterpoint I have to Bitcoin leading is that if you're of the view and you subscribe to the thesis that we're actually still very early in the cycle, then we still have yet to see like the big alt season and the big rally and Bitcoin dominance dropping. So that's the only thing in my head. And I'm not sure I subscribe to that view, but I'm just saying the counterpoint to all of this is that actually the cycle has been kicked off by a Bitcoin rally, and we're yet to see this big altcoin cycle, which is what happened in 2020 and then 2021. So that's just something worth bearing in mind, I think.
Yeah, a lot of people have compared this more towards 2020 right now, where Bitcoin does okay, or Bitcoin seems relatively strong, but altcoins fail to really catch up, and then you have this massive altcoin cycle, which happens at different stages of 2021. So maybe we'll see that. That being said, like there's been a lot of other very bullish activity that we seem to be seeing, and it's mainly been meme coins. Like I was going to do a left curve corner this week, but I was like, all the left curve stuff is now the mainstream stuff. Meme coins are dominating all the major gains in crypto at the moment. We had the Murad thesis, and this week we've had a range of different ones related to AI, but it does feel as though a lot of the stuff that people would normally do for outsized gains in crypto are now in the forefront again. And we're going to see some pretty frothy activity, at least from the meme coin side.
I think meme coins keep going here. I don't know. I don't think we've yet seen the froth. The only thing that seems to have good, reliable betas to Bitcoin this year so far is meme coins. And whether you pick like the top 10 or you dive deeper down the risk curve, I think that trend keeps going just because it's been so proven this cycle until the cycle is truly over. That's my gut there.
Yeah, that's what Murad was saying as well. Like, don't look away from what did well in the first half of the cycle. It's going to continue in the second half of the cycle. So my altcoin season theory is kind of that we're already seeing an altcoin season. It's just not in the altcoins that people would normally buy. Like it's in meme coins. Meme coins have become the new altcoins. Whereas last cycle you'd look for 10x gains in low cap altcoins. Now you're looking for 10 to maybe even 100x gains in low cap meme coins. And people who are just here to gamble, here to speculate, they found their product market fit, and it means that Bitcoin dominance rises even with kind of an altcoin season happening, but only for meme coins.
Yeah, I would love to see some stats on, we chart Bitcoin dominance and we chart things like total three. Is it total three? Yeah, I'd love to see some sort of metric which is like the Bitcoin meme coin ratio kind of thing, and maybe you take the top 20 or 50 meme coins or 100 meme coins, there's tons of them now, obviously, and chart that ratio between Bitcoin to see and assess that performance. I think that would be, it's something I don't see people chart a lot, and it's something I'd be interested to see, I think.
Well, we saw Solana meme coins break above 10 billion, I think, last week. I think the total market cap of meme coins, including Doge, is up to nearly 60 billion. And I think that peaked earlier this year at just over 60 billion. So we're getting back towards cycle highs for meme coins. The main mover, to be honest, has been things like Doge and SHIB, which have had an okay week again. I think Doge is up about 25%. So that means we're able to challenge some of those higher figures that we saw earlier in the year. But really, this has been about like mid-cap meme coins, which everyone's been throwing their money at. I think it's frustrating for a lot of people in crypto, even what's been interesting to see is that even some of the big winners like Solana or ETH, they're underperforming Bitcoin as well. So it feels as though the L1 trade is even kind of running out of a little bit of steam. I know ETH hasn't had a good cycle, but even Sui, for example, didn't have an amazing week. Solana didn't have an amazing week. It's just Bitcoin and meme coins. And I kind of agree with you. I think it's just going to continue. People are coming in here and they're seeing the screenshots of big wins, and whether you find it frustrating or not, that's what people are being drawn to. And that's what, like, if people have more money, we're talking about global liquidity going in. You're going to have some people who want to buy Bitcoin for the digital gold narrative, and then some people are here just to try and make 100x gains. And I think they're going to be driven to meme coins again.
Do you think, thinking about elections again, what do you think happens if Kamala wins even, sorry, do you see Bitcoin dominance rise, or do you see Bitcoin dominance fall in that situation?
Yeah, I think if Kamala wins, I think Bitcoin dominance would rise. I think if Trump wins, I think there is, and the reason for that is just because I think people will probably view it as a more difficult path for broader crypto regulatory framework in the US. But Bitcoin in that world, I think, still survives and still thrives. So I think you probably have Bitcoin fall, but I do think Bitcoin dominance continues to rise. I think if Trump wins, we could see a little bit of a mini peak here in Bitcoin dominance. I think we probably get above 60%, 61, 62. But if Trump wins, I think people can start to say, we're going to see a regulatory framework which brings Solana into being more accepted, a bunch of the other Altel ones to being accepted. And I think we probably have a more broad-based rally in altcoins on the back of that.
Here's a question for you. If Trump wins, where does Bitcoin go? On so the day of the closing prices on the day of the Trump victory, what's the closing price for Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, and then let's say something like a Pepe, so you can talk about in terms of market cap, WIF in terms of market cap, and then maybe let's say talk about like a mid cap on something like a MOG or a pop cap, or SPX. Where do you think all those things trade in terms of the closing price on the day of the Trump victory?
One day prices are really difficult, but year end prices I think are easier to do. I think Bitcoin on a Trump victory heads between 90 to 100K by year end.
And what does that imply for Sol and ETH?
Well, I think.
What do you think ETC goes lower, that ratio, or does it stay the same, or does it go higher? Like,
ETH is tough because ETH I also think is a pretty clean path on a regulatory framework right now. It could be better in terms of tokenization, but I still think I think Bitcoin outperforms ETH at all points of this cycle. Solana is the interesting one because I would say Solana probably has the most to gain from a Trump presidency win out of the major L1s. But I think around year end, like people will talk about the FTX unlocks, which are pretty decent in that Q1 period. That's why it's become a more difficult trade for me, that one. But I think Solana will at least keep pace with Bitcoin.
yeah.
So I think we'll probably be heading towards 200 area on Sol on that sort of a move, maybe slightly higher.
And then where is something like Pepe? Like if you have like let's say a $3 to $4 billion market cap meme, where does that go in that situation? And let's say you have a $1 billion market cap meme, where does that go in that situation?
Interestingly, like the higher cap memes, so anything 2 billion plus, has generally underperformed. Like I said, Doge's has had an okay week this week, but generally a lot of people are kind of trapped in those longs. Like they know they're not going to go that much lower, but the upside has been pretty meager in Pepe, Bonk, with Doge, Shib. Like a lot of people are like, well, these are the best memes to own, but they're not really gaining that much. I still think those could be frustrating longs, if I'm honest. Like,
yeah,
the sector which I think probably gains the most from a Trump victory in terms of altcoins is probably DeFi, but I don't know if that necessarily means you get like 50x gains. What I do think is that if Trump wins, you'll see a lot of money go into these mid cap memes again, and probably even low caps as well. I think we could see like $1 billion memes happening on a weekly basis if we start to see a Trump victory. So I think that could be pretty substantial. We should actually get into that because that's one of the major stories of the week that we've had this week is this goat meme coin, which was formed about a week ago. It's called Goatius Maximus is kind of the long form of it. I got some airplane sound in the background there, OSF. But it is a meme which wasn't actually created by an AI agent, but it was endorsed by an AI agent called Truth Terminal, which has its own X account and actually saw some. I think A16Z had helped give it a 50K Bitcoin donation a few months back. It's kind of a machine learning influencer. Like it posts about a ton of different things. It gets huge engagement on the back of it, and it promoted this coin called Goat last week, and it has gone from 0 to 50 to 100 to 200, 300, and now $450 million in the space of a week. The story is really catching up. We've seen Bloomberg run with stories about it. It looks like if GOAT hits, I think just over 550 million, this AI agent would become the first AI millionaire, which is becoming like a bit of a story, and it feels likely that it's about to happen. You saw this story right from the start. Like we were flagged to this story when it was about $1 million. What do you think of it all?
I like. I haven't really gotten on board with AI coins in general, but I like the idea of AI meme coins because you want something that doesn't really have any utility or anything like that. You just want something that's a bit left curve and a bit silly. But the AI narrative is like a very powerful one, and I don't know if you've read some of the tweets that come out of the Truth Terminal thing, but they're pretty funny, but they're pretty like extreme as well. And I think it's like sort of like a good it's a good coin that fits the narrative right now of like meme coins, AI, but kind of being self-deprecating and not like completely taking it too seriously, which is where I think some of the AI stuff falls into traps. And yeah, the whole like I think the whole Mark Andreessen thing is the thing that really sent it, to be honest with you, isn't it? Because this coin was about 20 to $40 million market cap, and as soon as there were rumors about A16Z and Mark Andreessen, and then he said he was not involved with the coin. He just sent whoever it was 50 grand as a kind of like a grant, I guess. But that I think just actually added more fuel to the fire, and then it kept going. So where it goes from here, I'm not really sure. I think you've had a few different coins in the past month or so, like Mudeng, SPX to a certain extent, this coin now where they just catch fire and go to this sort of like 300 to $500 million range, or maybe possibly even higher, and then they start to lose a bit of steam. And my hunch and my gut on this one is I don't think it's going to be one that will. It maybe goes to $1 billion. I'm not really sure, but I don't think it's one that's going to last for a long time at those prices because I don't feel like I think the stuff that lasts for a long time at those prices are stuff that has strong communities and people who are like very diehard and active in preaching the story and holding their position, so to speak, for a long time. And it doesn't feel like that to me about Go. Go feels like this just random thing that caught a bit of virality, but random things that catch virality are often temporary and not permanent.
Yeah, I had the same view, but I don't know if it's just complete cope. What I do think about it is that if you are not involved in crypto and you hear about this story, it is kind of engaging, that like, oh, we're going to create the first AI millionaire off of Memecoin. And I think a lot of the stories have kind of muddied the water. That this AI didn't actually create the coin; he just endorsed it. But a lot of the stories seemingly indicate that they created it as well, and that's kind of not what happened. But at the same time, it's a sort of story which I think people are buying into. You've seen a lot of notable people in crypto buy over the last 24 hours, and I think this one could. I think we're going to definitely see this AI agent become a millionaire. I think it's definitely going to hit that level. That level just feels like a sort of level it needs to hit.
Is that the sell the news level? Like when it does it, what's next to look
I think
forward
it is.
to?
I think it is. I think it's a Salva news level. There's been a few stories like this before. There was a story which also has done very well this week, Turbo, where an artist in the past like used AI to code the meme coin. This is before Pump.fun, where making a coin was far harder than it is now. And that meme coin's actually gone near $1 billion this week as well, just on a similar sort of story. But I preferred that story to this story. Like this story, it feels good, but it also feels like it's not $1 billion worth of good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I think too. Like I think I could see it hit that, make the first AI millionaire level, which is what you said, $550 million market cap, and then just back down to 100 or whatever it is from there, 80% drawdown.
I think it just speaks to what we're seeing in the market though. This is what I said, like if Trump gets in, we've seen a coin, not for the first time, right? We've seen a coin basically go up to 450 million. I think last week we had Mudeng, right? Or maybe that was a couple of weeks ago. Mudeng went to 350 million. This one's gone to 450. I think it'll probably go to 550, 600 area, sorry, in the space of a week. We saw that sort of stuff happened about 6 months ago. Like Bohm, for example, went to what 1.5 billion in just a few weeks. It's getting frothy out there. It's getting back to being people are coming in, they're hearing these crazy stories. This goat story, you've had people screenshotting millions of dollars worth of wins. Um, that's the sort of thing that brings people back. And I think if Trump gets in, we'll hear probably about more of those stories every single week. Like this left curve, if it pays to be left curve right now, like
Yeah.
if it doesn't make sense, even this goat thing, it's not the perfect story, and it's gone to 450 million. Like you get a good story here, it's going to hundreds of millions.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I like that. I think you're right. I think you'll on a Trump win, you'll just see things like flip to $1 billion like pretty quickly. I think that's what happened in 2021, right? It's almost like you sort of have like your big cap meme, your mid cap meme, and your low cap meme, and the floors for all of them rise a lot higher. So maybe right now, a big cap's like $2 or $3 billion, a mid cap's like 700 million to $1 billion, and then your low cap stuff is like 200 and below. And you could see that low cap being $1 billion. That makes sense. You can start to see things move pretty aggressively, I think. But there's, when that happens, there's still, what is amazing to me is when you get these like crazy market caps on these memes, the liquidity on chain is not that great, to be honest with you. Like it's not, if you wanted to like exit your entire position, it's not really there. So maybe in that world we see much more exchange listings because they'll be doing tons of volume. I'm not really sure, but it's going to be an interesting paradigm, I think.
Yeah, I think buckle up. Like the banana zone that Raul's been talking about for a long time, we're about to see it happen. I think the obvious thing that's going to happen here is Bitcoin. I think other than that, it's going to become increasingly unpredictable. I think all you're going to see is that you're going to see big wins, and you should be. I wouldn't fade momentum in the early part of the Trump. Like, see what is moving after Trump gets in, or if Trump gets in, and I wouldn't fade that. Conversely, if Kamala gets in, then I don't think we're moving away from the banana zone. I think actually crypto has a strong period, whatever. But I do think we go down a little bit more, and it becomes more of a Bitcoin led cycle. Um, Probably meme coins as well, but Bitcoin I think would be the obvious thing just to hold.
So how are you playing it? What's the right position here? If you're bullish and you want to get beta on, like which and people say, oh, meme coins, but like it's kind of like NFTs in 2021. Which NFTs, which meme coins? There's so many out there. How do you know what has the best bang for buck? Do you stay safe and go with something like Pepe, but you just say it underperforms? Do you take more risk? If you take more risk, there's like so much more choice. There's only 5 or 6 multi-billion-dollar meme caps, multi-billion-dollar market cap memes, but there's like hundreds of mid-cap memes probably. Like, what's your thoughts there? Like, how are you positioned?
I actually think it's a little bit simple. Like I think we've been speaking about in the show for a while, right? Bitcoin, I think we agreed was the best one of the majors to own. I went fully into Bitcoin in September, as I said every single week on the show, and added even a bit on top of that. And then, if I'm honest, I think the Murad has made the meme coin trade. I do think that whether you think those are incredible long term holds, those are the things to own. Like, yes, it becomes super dangerous as you go down into mid caps, but I do think he's now created this sort of list where if you're coming in peripherally into crypto, those are the things that people own too. So I actually think it's become more simple. If you want to guarantee you're going to make money on a Trump victory, I think you're going to be owning Bitcoin and Murad memes. And then you can go down, like obviously you can take more risk and you can catch these things that got to 500 million. But if you want to set and forget sort of portfolio, which has some meme coin exposure, that's what I would do. Like don't fade it. Don't fade what's now been working over the last month. Those things are going to keep going higher, I can tell you.
Yeah.
Like people are going to put money into them.
At the end of the day, Murad has being the person who's caught fire with the way he's presented his thesis, whether you agree or disagree, it's got a shit ton of engagement and
That's
everyone's
it.
talking about it, right? So, and that's what meme coins need. It's attention. So, if he truly is able to onboard institutions and players who previously haven't been in the meme coin world because of the way he's perhaps explained that part of the market, then if someone buys into Ethereum, what are they going to do? Well, they're going to buy one of the coins he's talking about. They're not going to buy a different coin, right? Because, like I said, you're just lost in terms of what to buy. So, buy the thing that the guy is saying to buy. So I agree. I think, in my opinion, in this moment in the cycle, I think it's risky to not own at least one Murad coin. That's the way I feel.
Yeah.
It's like a bit of self-fulfilling prophecy, I think.
It doesn't even matter if you agree with the thesis around any of them.
Exactly.
Like, you just got to if you take a step back, you just think if money comes into the space, where's it going to go? That's just a super strong narrative that's happened. And I don't see it being faded. I think there are better or worse coins there, but I do think that it's tough to argue that those won't be the winners now. I mean, I've liked other coins. Like, if I move away, if you're like, I cannot touch meme coins, I do not want to hold these. I need to feel like there's some sort of underlying fundamental value to it. I do think that some of the DeFi coins will do okay, particularly the ones on Solana. Like I've said in the past about Camino. Camino's done like a 3x since I was I was looking at it a few months ago. I think some of the Solana DeFi coins will do well. I think Aave will probably do well. You've seen a big run up in Athena, which has done well. I think some of the DeFi coins will do well, and I think I've also said I like Bitenso, I like Tau as an AI coin, but I actually think that those trades are more risky than Murad memes plus Bitcoin here. Like, it's weird. I just don't see how those Murad coins go lower unless something really bad happens to him, or like we hear that he had some like crazy background and all this sort of stuff. Like, some of those coins I just do not see him going lower, and I think people will be looking to buy any dip. You should probably mute again. You're very loud.
Do you think sorry, there's a plane flying over, but do you think that they go to the market cap targets he's talking about?
No, nowhere near. But like, do I think Giga goes to $1 billion? Yes. Do I think Mog goes to $1 billion? Yes. Do I think Ticker Bitcoin? I think that could go to $1 billion. I think there's just like, I just think if you're in crypto day in, day out, I think the stronger ones out of his list, right? The ones which are like, they got saved by being on the list, and the ones which were strong independent of that list. And I would probably buy the ones which I think are strong independent of that list. So the top ones for me there are like Popcat, Mog, Giga, and probably Ticker Bitcoin.
So those are all at similar market cap levels between, let's say, like 500 to 800 million, maybe 400 to 800. Where do you think they can go?
I think those can do a 4 or 5x. Pretty confidently over the next, like, maybe even by year end. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think lock in as well as a decent one. But I think if I actually like the ETH memes on his list more than I like the Solana memes, just because I think ETH memes. I think there's a lot of money on ETH right now that feels slightly trapped. That feels like it lost. It's so frustrated about missing so much of the cycle, and I even see it on the timeline. Like, if you're here every single day in crypto, you see that people are going like, right, I'm not buying Solana. I'm not buying Solana meme coins. There's no way you're going to get me to, but I'll buy some ETH meme coins. Why not? So I think you might actually see, weirdly, like the ETH TVL move into those, and it's far fewer at the top there, right? Like, there's not thousands of ETH memes. There's only a handful. So I actually think those ones are the ones which look the strongest. SPX is one of those now, But personally, like I think SPX is like purely a Murad coin, right? Like there's nothing
Yeah.
else out there. It was kind of there beforehand, but look at the SPX chart. It's really just a Murad coin. But I think Mog and Ticker Bitcoin and are stronger than that. And on the Solana side, I think Giga and Popcat will. I obviously have my own Memecoin as well, so like I'm super bullish on that. I think we're going to see other stuff go higher. But if I wanted a sort of portfolio where you like set and forget it, it would be Murad coins and Bitcoin. How could you
Yeah.
lose? Like, paint me a picture where that doesn't make money. Um, it would only ever be if he had to liquidate all of his portfolio and like he gets exposed as like a fraud in some sort of way, or like a pump and dumper, which I don't think is a 2024 thing. I think that's maybe like an end of 2025 thing. He probably has to start selling, and then people are like front run it, or they start attacking him. But I think don't it's become much easier to guess what's going to be the meme coins, in my opinion.
Got me excited. I really hope we see a. I mean, purely from the perspective of my positioning, I hope that we see a Trump victory.
Yeah,
Purely from a crypto standpoint, but it could be
I'm
really
I'm
exciting. That
max
could be a very
long.
exciting environment.
I'm max long.
Yeah.
I've been saying it on this show for a long time. I am max long. I think we are going to go a lot higher. Do not fade. I actually think on any scenario, like even if Trump doesn't win, I think like we're going to go higher based on global liquidity going higher and all the banana zone stuff that Raul's been talking about for months. But I think on a Trump victory, you see parabolic stuff start happening, like really crazy stuff happens in crypto. Because even if you're bearish on him from an economic standpoint, like some people have said, oh, you know, this could mean like inflation comes back, and like it may not be the most positive scenario for like the or a lot of it's already baked into like the S&P. It's very difficult to paint a bearish scenario for crypto and crypto policy with him in power. And I think people will, if I was to think of like the top 3 trades to own, we spoke about that a little bit last week, into a Trump election victory, it probably would be Bitcoin, Tesla, and maybe like what Trump media, the stock. But Bitcoin's the most obvious one, I think.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Do you want to do some questions, or is there
Yeah,
anything
why
else you want
not?
to cover?
I think there was
Um,
the thing about it is like this show we could talk about. There's been some pretty cool stuff like Venmo. You can now buy crypto with Venmo now, which PayPal is like helping.
yeah, that's pretty big.
There's a pretty big
MoonPay, yeah.
integration, right? Like a MoonPay integration, which I think will be pretty big for onboarding, at least in the US. You've seen a couple of banks in Asia, particularly DBS Bank in Singapore, and there's been one of the oldest banks in Thailand have moved more towards using crypto. So there's been these sort of like progressive integrations, but honestly, mind share is being dominated by meme coins in crypto, and that will turn some people off to what's going on. But that is kind of what's happening. It's kind of frustrating not to talk about anything but that right now. Um, I think that's probably going to be the case for at least the next few weeks. Like
Yeah.
I feel that's not really going to change. You did say you also saw Larry Fink come out, who's like the obviously the CEO / co-founder of BlackRock, came out and said he thinks that Bitcoin could be the size of the US housing market, which I thought was a pretty big quote. I've It's kind of wild to see someone like that come out and be more bullish on crypto than sometimes people within crypto even are. Like the US housing market is in the tens of trillions, around 50 trillion. And Bitcoin right now is just over $1 trillion. So he is seeing a massive potential rise in Bitcoin here. Do you think obviously he makes money from fees from this ETF, and we already spoke about how BlackRock's seen about $1 billion of inflows into their ETF this week, but do you think that's believable? Do you think we're going to see $50 trillion Bitcoin?
It's not as crazy as it sounds, I think. It's not as crazy as it sounds. If it really makes its way into the TradFi world of being recognized as digital gold and reserve currencies and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, the US decides to start buying it and other sovereign nations felt they had to get involved. Like that's a path of events, which is a possibility. And the probability of that is not as low as some people think it is. Like it's a very real possibility. And this is something that Bitcoiners would have told you 10 years ago. Like, you know, one day every sovereign nation is going to buy Bitcoin. But back then it probably didn't feel like a reality. Whereas now it's not so crazy to think that. I mean, Trump is already out there saying it. And
Oh, I think we may have lost him again. Yeah, look, I think it's believable, basically, for this. I do think it's probably a 2050 sort of thing that we head towards 50 trillion, but 50 would take us to that $1 million Bitcoin level, right? Slightly higher. It's I think we're going to $1 million Bitcoin. It's really just a timeline of when it happens. If we could do that in 25 years, I think that's achievable. It could be like a 10 to 15 year trade. Who knows? Like 50x on Bitcoin over the next 10 to 15 years could happen.
yeah, I can see it. I can see it.
Yeah.
All right, let's do questions. Before we do that, we just want to showcase some more pro crypto content on Real Vision. Earlier this week, we had Jamie Coots, who sat down with Jack Booth, who is the founder of the Ton Society, for a deep dive into the open network, the growing crypto system that's forming around it. So you can access that on the Real Vision website. That's realvision.com with a pro crypto subscription. And now let's move on to the questions. First question, this is from Sarah. Are we front running the Trump trade, i.e. Trump wins, sell the news, Harris wins, sell the news, et cetera, et cetera? My personal opinion is on day one, I agree with that. I think you're meant to fade either result on day one. What happens afterwards, I think, is a different story. But yeah, I kind of agree with that on day one and the short term, perhaps.
Yeah,
Really
I would actually. I actually don't think you should fade it. I've said this before. Like, maybe on the day you see volatility, you saw that the open interest on Bitcoin hit an all-time high at the CME this I think 2 days ago. So all that tells you is that there probably could be a leverage wipeout on the way up, and then on the way down you see these like Darth Maul wicks where you go up and down and everyone loses money. But I think that Bitcoin breaking above an all-time high should not be faded. I I'm not a mean reversion trader when it comes to this sort of stuff, and I think you're meant to buy that breakout. Actually, I think if we break out of that 71.5 level, which we've hit like 10 times, maybe even more, I think it's nearly a dozen times over the last few months, and we break out of it, you're meant to buy that breakout.
Next question. Well, I'm going to bucket two questions together here. One is from Alex. What about EPIK? I'm surprised you don't mention it. Another one from RM. Guys, honest view, what chance does the duck have going to a buck? I don't know. Why don't you spend like 5 minutes telling us about? I think EPIK's an interesting one. Like it's a meme coin. It's up what 3 to 4x or so in the last 2 or 3 weeks, but it's still sitting at like a $30 million market cap, maybe 25 is what it is. So it's in that kind of like low cap range, but it's something you've been working on for the last few months. So you know it's not like a coin that's just going to disappear overnight, and it hasn't done so. But you know, what do you think? Imagine you're not the founder of EPIK. What do you think?
Yeah, I've actually never mentioned it on the show because it just felt so dangerous to kind of talk about it. But yeah, I made it 7 months ago now, as a joke. But I think it's doing well. It's now at like $30 million or 25-ish million dollars. Trying to become the first gaming meme coin. So like gaming projects in crypto have traditionally not been great investments. You've seen a lot of like dodgy tokenomics, a lot of VC style investments, where it's been kind of extractive. And I think a lot of people have a lot of war stories of investing in gaming tokens over the years. And I think our vision is this is like an OG gaming meme. So it's from like 15 years ago, from 2009, and now it's a meme coin based on that. And it's really to build a gaming coin from the ground up. So you have people who are interested in gaming, that like gaming sort of culture, and you build a coin which then has that sort of meme coin aspect, community aspect, and then starts to get gradually integrated into different games. You maybe get partnered with different games for airdrops or for token drops, of which we're speaking to a number of different people, and kind of just do crypto gaming coins slightly different. Interestingly, there's been like a big winner in the crypto gaming space over the last month, which is Off the Grid, which is a game which is actually outpaced Fortnite for downloads on some of the major gaming hubs, Steam being the main one. But interestingly, like gaming coins haven't done that well on the back of it. Like Off the Grid doesn't actually have a coin right now, but a lot of the gaming tokens, people just have been burnt so bad, and they see the tokenomics of them, and they know that they're just difficult. They're difficult coins to own. It's the same with so many different altcoins, right? Like they're funded by VCs to actually fund the original game, and then even if the game is successful, the tokenomics of the game just mean that it never really can work, or like the economics of the game never really work out. So it's basically a way to be bullish on gamers coming into crypto and being more accepting of it, but you have a meme where it's a fair distribution, fair launch, and there's less holders. So I'm bullish on EPIK because I'm a founder and I think it can do well, but I'm not going to tell anyone to buy it. You can just have a look at it, and if you vibe with it, then you can take an even deeper look. But I do think that there are stories like that, right? Like EPIK was at $6 million 2 weeks ago, and it's done a 4-5x over that period. I think there's going to be a lot of stories like that if over the coming weeks. A lot of these stories, like the Murad thesis on coins, right? Which is you look for a coin which is over 6 months old, that has a cult following, that has a clear definable goal, and that has seen like multiple drawdowns and has this almost like not religious, but this cult like energy about it. I think there are a few coins like that which aren't on his list, but would be if he had an extended list of like 20 to 30 coins. If you're in crypto every single day, you can probably identify what those are, right? You kind of know what those coins could be. And I like to think that EPIK could be, it's 6 months old, clear definable goal is to be the biggest crypto gaming coin, or gaming meme to be precise, but maybe gaming coin at the same time. And yeah, it's been through like multiple drawdowns and has like a cult following to it.
I like it. Okay, next question is another meme coin question. You guys didn't talk about bonk in memes. What are your thoughts on it? On that one, for me, I don't really classify bonk as like a proper meme coin. Bonk, number one, is like basically a VC coin, and they actually have token unlocks that get vested to various contributors and stuff over time. So I think that's one of the reasons why it's underperformed quite a lot. And they have all this utility stuff like BonkBot and all these different things. So for me, it's less of like a traditional meme coin, more of like a floki kind of vibe thing, which it does mean it can do well. But look, at the end of the day, Bonk hit $1 billion like almost a year ago, right? Bonk hit $1 billion in like November, December last year. And since then, it's barely really managed to kick on. I think it managed to get to 2 or something like that, but it's been dwarfed by WIF, dwarfed by many other coins. So I just think it's not like, it's not something that I even really bucket into like a pure meme coin is what I would say.
Yeah, I think that in some ways that works in its favor. At the same time, like bonk never really goes lower. It
Yeah,
just
that's
kind
also
of
true.
stays where it is. I think it has in bad periods it can be born like a DeFi coin because it has like a big bonk bot, trading bot which earns tons of fees. That's one of the main reasons why bonk has kind of a centralized management team. I think bonk is a multi-cycle meme, but it's a multi-cycle meme, like you just said. It's more like SHIB, where it's going to stick around. I don't know if I'd own it for a parabolic run up. That's what I'd say.
Yeah, makes sense. I think I agree with you then. I think it's not the one that can just go crazy because I think for that stuff it needs to really be like truly, truly left curve work to almost to the point where you can't even explain where the value derives from. Um, that is it for questions actually we have this week. It's been a very meme coin focused show so far because I think everyone feels like we're on this precipice of going a lot higher. And as we discussed, meme coins seem to be the thing that have the most beta in this market. And I think everyone's trying to, I mean, myself included, trying to figure out like the most optimal portfolio, like Bitcoin plus a cherry picking of meme coins. So yeah, I think I don't know. Do you have anything else to add on the show? We may end up calling it an early one.
We've spoken about lots of other things, lots of other coins that we think can make money in this show. And it just feels as though the market is telling you that meme coins is the thing. So I can tell you, like I said before, 5 to 10 other coins, which I think are decent risk reward plays. But don't fade what's going on right now. Really, really don't. I think it's time to pay attention to what's going on. And if you really hate that world, then I think Bitcoin is probably the thing though.
Yeah. Before we head off, we'll have a question for you guys. Which meme coin do you think is going to be the next one that goes to $1 billion? Let us know in the comments whether you're watching on X, on YouTube, on the Real Vision website. Let us know your thoughts on which meme coins you guys would pick for the next ones to reach $1 billion. Other than that, I think we can wrap it up for an early close today. Hopefully the price action continues. Make sure you guys are following us on X. It's REKT Mando, OSF_REKT. And we'll be back next week. Next week, we'll have the Drinks with OSF and Mando show, which is exclusive to Real Vision crypto members. It will be at the usual time, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time, 4:30 p.m. British Summer Time. And the last thing to mention, you can get access to all these sessions and all the research and trade ideas in Real Vision Crypto. That's realvision.com/RVC24. But other than that, I hope everyone has a great weekend and thanks again for listening.
Thanks, everyone.